Islam. Canaanland Moors, Sunday class, freestyle day. So we're going to touch on a little bit of everything. We got some questions, or we're going to start up with the prayer. Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night, and by day, His holy prophet, noble Dwali, Islam. Islam. Start off as usual with our letters to be read every meeting, so Moors can know what they weren't told and realize who sold out and why they don't have any treasury and everything else. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speeches while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up their card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Juali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Juali. To be proclaimed in every meeting, March 18th, 1929. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. And we're always going to stop here and address the fact that in Noble Juali's time, even though there was millions of members or whatever, he recognized that there's only few Moors that are faithful. Right? Like, he recognized that. So if Noble Juali is saying few Moors in 1929, and then we have these letters that just got resurfaced right now, you know what I mean? We have all these people who's been in the Moorish movement saying that they got titles of this and they're grand, whatever, haven't done anything. They got articles. Noble Juali came to Toronto, met with people here, whatever like that. There's no temple here. They got, Moors in Washington, Baltimore, wherever. They got Moors in Milwaukee, but there's no temple there. And you think that the European did that? Crazy. You better wake up and realize that Moors sold out this whole thing. Like, Moors sold out this whole thing in order for the people to be in this stagnant position that they're in, where even with here, you know what I mean? 2 people in class, 3, including the 1 individual online, right? But they got problems and they got issues, but they're not gonna go to where they can get their problems fixed. They're gonna march and do whatever else that they think is gonna help them. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. Right? So we'll stop there. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. So it's not through the Moors who say they don't want nothing to do with Noble Drew Ali, Moor Science Temple because that's corrupted or whatever. Because that's what Noble Drew Ali brought. It's not the Moors that say, oh, that's not the real flag. We need our own flag in order for us to be free or whatever like that. It's not those Moors. It's the Moors who stick to what Noble Drew Ali brought. And if Noble Drew Ali brought something, if Noble Drew Ali said certain things and Moors don't want to go by those things, forget calling out people for violating divine constitutions and whatever like that. The worst thing you could do is violate the Prophet. The worst thing you could do is be on the perspective that Noble Drew Ali is wrong, and so we're going to do something else contrary to what Noble Drew Ali said. Right? That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the last few years. So we got Facebook on right now, so we're gonna beat up on some of these Moors on here talking crap about Moors. Just one more. Hanam Faizan L. So apparently he's down with these Moors that call themselves a Mexican Moor Empire, right? They talk from the perspective that that flag is not the flag. Right? Now, when we read Noble Drew Ali's literature, Noble Drew Ali said that the Moors' flag is a red flag with a 5-point green star in the center. Clearly, that's a red flag with a 5-point green star in the center. He never specified solid flag, broken flag, interlocking flag, whatever. Red flag, 5-point green star in the center. That's it. So for somebody to go make up a flag now, right, and try to push their, we'll say, doctrine on me, that, you know, well, I gotta accept, you know, them, right? And they know what's going on, when, you know, the only thing that I see them talk about is, you know, the FBI said. The FBI said. Well, the FBI put out a booklet and they have a picture of a Moor nationality card on there, and they're saying Moor sovereign citizen. We already told people. We did the class. Moors are not sovereign citizens. We did the class. Stop following pseudo-hillbilly sovereigns. So we made the point clear that we have nothing to do with that. Moor came today. Same Moor. Hassan Faizan L. Hassam. Hannam Faizanel came on one of these postings talking about how I am a UCC Moor. I don't file no UCCs with nobody. We're strictly against UCCs. We don't do UCCs. That's not our demonstration. We do not do UCCs, PPSA, any type of filing, whatever, to get access to our birthright. We don't do that around here. So clearly, individuals are liars. Second, oh, well, you're going to keep doing whatever and you get arrested. We already put Brother Supreme on the record that he never got arrested, he got detained. Detaining and arresting is two different things. And when you see Moors get 20 years, 30 years, 5 years, whatever, and they're Moors, one, either they didn't know what the hell they were doing and they played themselves, that's why they got arrested. Or two, they're being made a supreme example to stop Negro black colored people from getting down with this, because, you know, once the European says something, you know that Negro black colored people are going to listen and they're going to get down with it. All right? And I've never been arrested. Even before being Moor, exercising, going to Boost clothes and stuff like that at stores, being on the corner, selling drugs or whatever like that. Never been arrested, never seen inside jail cell ever. Never. Only time I had handcuffs on was one time somebody made a gun charge. We're at this Burger King, and we're downtown Toronto on Dundas, and on Yonge. You know where they have the little strip at Dundas where all the food, right? So we're at the Burger King there. We just came from a concert or whatever, and this was like, like 3 in the morning or something like that. Just go get something to eat or whatever. So we're in there, and then my friend has this gun lighter. So he had his gun lighter, just click, 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 because it was empty or whatever, right? So he's just freaking click, 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 freaking cashier or whatever. Calls Boyden. So it was 5 of us. So 2 brothers said they were going outside to go do something, smoke, something like that. You know what I mean? So they go outside. So we're eating, you know what I mean? We're in there probably like 45 minutes, like, yo, what? Taking these guys so long? Like, they just went outside for like a smoke or whatever. Like, whatever. Maybe maybe they saw some girls or something, whatever, you know what I mean? Next brother's like, okay, I'm gonna go outside or whatever, see whatever. So he goes outside, and then we see him just at the door, just standing at the door, just standing, looking with his back to us. What's going on? Why is he just standing there or whatever? Let's go see or whatever. Go outside. This man has like red dots just all over him or whatever, right? Red dots everywhere, right? Like, what the hell is going on? By this time we didn't know, that somebody called with the gun thing or whatever, right? So SWAT team or whatever like that. Guys behind the snowbank with the freaking, you know what I mean? Street blocked off, like police cars everywhere. Like, yo, what the hell's going on or whatever? Like, yo, is that? Put your hands down, don't be. We're like, oh, okay, fuck, like, you know what I mean? So you do the whole thing, you know what I mean? Girls on the ground, you know what I mean? Put on the cuffs, walk you backwards and all that stuff like that, you know what I mean? Red dots just all over. Like, okay, you know what? This is real. No movements, you know what I mean? Whatever. So we go through the thing now, go through the whole thing, go in everybody's pockets or whatever, full of half quarters and century sands and backwoods and whatever, just pulling out stuff. Everybody's stuff just on the hood of the car or whatever like that. Guys took the stuff. Hold this. I'm sorry to bother you guys. Somebody said there was a gun. There's no gun. We're out here. And these guys left. Like that was it. No nothing. No tickets. No whatever. Only handcuffs. That's the SWAT team. That's the only stuff that I ever dealt with as far as police and them coming at me on some level. That's it. Other than that, I never had no interaction with them people. So for individual Hassam Faizan L to come on these public streams and talk from the perspective like all Moors do that have this particular ID is get arrested or whatever like that. That's propaganda, and as soon as Moors start pushing propaganda like that, know that they're agents. I'm letting you know that they're agents. Another way that you know Moors are agents is when they got social media pages or whatever like that, and they don't got no pictures of themselves on there. 0 pictures of themselves. Why do you have no picture of yourself? Like, why are you hiding? What's the purpose of hiding? And if they do have a picture, it's one picture distorted with some type of, whatever Photoshop shit on it, you know what I mean? They got shades on and, nothing in the open, nothing bright. They're always freaking hiding. All these hiding Moors are dirty. Just like we were talking about last night. Don't be fooled by people because they got Fez on and they got L and B on their name. Majority of these people are dirty Moors. If they're not dirty themselves, they came up under somebody who was dirty. So they're dirty, right? And they're being used as the minions so that, the people who set up the dirt in the first place, they can, remove themselves. They can be obscure. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to be in the forefront, right? They can be veiled behind, you know, the guy behind the curtain, and then you just see the feet back there. You know what I mean? Sticking out, right? And then these idiots are doing the job for these people. That's why we did the class with old Moors in new Moors skin, because all the old Moors who are dirty, they're like 80 right now, and they're talking about nothing. They're not coming out saying nothing because nobody's not listening to no old guy come talk about some marsh or whatever, right? It's all about the new blood right now, right? So know that these individuals. There's another one too. Let me get his name too, just to put these dirty Moors on the record, because they like to play like you know we're scared of them or something. You know we're scared to die or something. Like, I'll tell you guys to your face, suck your mom, because I really don't care about, people making up stuff and fabricating things under the guise of make some other people look bad. Again, just like last night. You know what I mean? More trying to tell us that, well, you know, we're violating something, right? Because we're talking about his dirt. We're slandering, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, they want Moors who are going to get raped or whatever, you know what I mean? Go in the confession booth to get felt up by the Grand Sheik and then not say nothing about it, right? You're right. You're not feeling up any Moors around here, right? The other clown-ass Moor is Amun Yasara Kushde. Amun Yahsara Kushdey. So it's Hanam Faizan El and Amun Yasara Kushday, right? Some Amexem Moor dick riding Moors who don't have anything better to do than try to cause confusion amongst people who are trying to understand what this nationality and birthrights are, right? The Amun Yasara clown, his whole thing is, more-ish American. Well, why are you calling yourself more-ish American? Ain't nobody calling yourself more-ish American. It's Moorish. You don't say Brit-ish. You don't even talk like that with the European. But Moors say Moorish. Oh, now everybody's mad. Everybody has something to say. Everybody want to give their little piece as to why it's an adjective and whatever and all this type of stuff. But how come you guys don't go to that colonizer and tell him, why are you guys calling yourself Brit-ish? They'll never go to the colonizer, because the colonizer is the one that pays these clowns, and they're told by their little handlers or whatever like that don't talk negative about the big boss. Don't talk negative about Big Brother, right? Push the fact that there's an FBI book that they have, a chapter in there about sovereign citizens, whatever, and they're using Moors nationality cards and Moorish American or whatever like that. They say that they're Amexem Moors.
That's a gimmick. Right? They're targeting the Moors. You say the Moors?
Simple.
Why would they have to say sovereign citizens? That's a gimmick.
And Moors who, studious or whatever, they know, they study, they know what's up. But these are the things that, get me riled up, because, there's Moors. I think maybe, well, actually, you could check and see, right? These guys been flapping for 18 hours. These guys been flapping, right? These guys been flapping for 18 hours, okay? And maybe two Moors came on and said something like, yo, you guys need to shut the hell up or whatever. You know what I mean? You guys don't even know what you're talking about. You guys are agents. You guys work for somebody or whatever like that. You know what I mean? When, they really should be, hunted down and get their ass kicked, for for trying to play around with people's birthright, trying to make it seem like, you know, Moors who are active and have taken the position of doing this so that the people have something, that they're in error. You know what I mean? They don't know what they're talking about. And again, you have these individuals, they call themselves a Mexican Moor Empire. They have a guy that is supposed to be their sultan or whatever like that, but he's living in a house or apartment or something like that. This sultan living in a house or apartment. Where's your empire at? You say you're an empire, but you know, you guys got some little pieces of silver or whatever like that. Think that you're somebody. Don't give any honors to Noble Drew Ali. They don't mention him. If they do mention him, it's on some, and then go to talking about their Mexican Moor BS with their fake flag that they made up, you know. And then that's like, and like I asked them, sent them the question. So how come a Mexican Moor Empire wasn't around during Noble Drew Ali's time? Where was it? And they're not gonna answer that. They're gonna go, you know, dive around that question or whatever like that. You know what I mean? To try and make themselves popular. You can tell people, this ain't not about no popularity. This is not about show and prove. This is about birthrights. And anybody who interacts with these individuals without slapping them with some truth every day, all day, tell them to go fuck themselves. Tell them to go eat shit and die. Tell them to go suck their mom anytime they come up. But as soon as you start playing games with them, you're siding with them. And as soon as you start siding with them, you don't want to be around Kudrow and start siding with Dirty Moors, because everybody's getting ousted at that point. Because there's too many Dirty Moors right now sticking their head out, you know what I mean, out their little mole hole with dirt on their head, talking about they're the cleanest Moors around and people need to follow them.
Where did they get the terminology of Mexico?
Right? Where they get the terminology of Mexico? Right? Right? You know? So, Amun, Yasara, Kush Day, that's one of them. And the other one is Hanam Faizan L. When you see these two Moors on Facebook, you better either block them if you don't want to, whatever, you don't want to tell them to F you and all that stuff, cool. You know what I mean? You have a right not to tell them anything. But know that those dirty Moors are working overtime to make sure that people don't get down with the true foundation of what this is. And if you let them, without blocking them, if you don't block them, and you just sit back and say, oh, hey, I'll just read this post, see what they're saying or whatever like that, you're about to get some lightning bolts too. Because I'm watching everybody who's liking their stuff, and trust me, they're coming after you people playing games. You can't tell me that you're faithful, you're down with Noble Drew Ali, but then on the second hand, you want to like traders' posts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They have people who are clearly dirty Moors, right? Their emperor, Tyrese Washington, when he's talking about a Mexican Moor Empire. You just call yourself Tyrese Washington. How are you calling yourself a European name and then attaching that to some Moorish anything without being a fraud? You know? We're gonna deal with some questions, guys. Freestyle day. I know I got some. We'll just see what we got in the email. So question. Can you explain to me if the Moroccan flag is our flag, or if our flag is only like the Moroccan flag? I was reading up on flags and came across some info saying Drew Ali wouldn't dare give us a flag of a people who had something to do with selling us out, even though he did not and was able to fly the same flag that the Moroccans fly today. Now once again, Drew Ali told the Moors in the 101 questionnaire that the Moorish flag is a red flag with a 5-point green star in the center. Right? The Moorish flag is a red flag with a 5-point green star in the center. That's the Moorish flag. Period. That's the Moorish flag. So if Satan comes out of a manhole around here or whatever with a flag that's red and has a green 5-point star in it, then he has the Moorish flag. If some people found some kingdom in North Africa and they take a flag that's red with a green 5-point star in the center, that's the Moorish flag. If some lesbians and gay guys come out and say, we're going to switch the pride flag to this flag right here, a red flag with a green 5-point star, that's the Moorish flag. Right? Who has it? The Prophet said that the Moorish flag is a red flag with a 5-point green star. And anybody who's against that, they're against the Prophet. It's that simple. So when you go on YouTube and you see these Moors calling up the Moroccan embassy and stuff like that and asking them, do Moors have permission to use the flag? Know that those people are agents and sellouts, and they work for the other side. They clearly work for the other side, because Noble Drew Ali was and is a prophet, and every single thing that he laid down has come to pass. He laid down that new Moors are going to come with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing, seek these old Moors in the back and carry out the law. That's going on right now. He prophesies that one day you're going to have an Asiatic president and a European vice president. That manifested. How about one day there's going to be earthquakes in the south, get your people out of the south because the destruction is going to start there. Look at Texas, what's going on there. Look at, Florida. Look at all these places with their little oil disasters and stuff like that. All those places are south that stuff's going on. So, and that's called destruction, when you have some idiot digging an oil rig and then these guys mess up the stuff and now oil is spewing out of the earth at 50 billion gallons a minute, and dead fish popping up everywhere, right? Clearly, right? And quote this, it's real ironic how someone says they know something and then ask a question contrary to that they proclaim to know. That's quote Brother Casanova Bay. I mean, one of the Moors out there that's just doing the work for the Prophet, make sure that people know truth about their birthrights, and that's it. Not looking for nothing, not trying to get nothing, doesn't want even to have a seat in nothing or like that. Just make sure that this word gets out to the people or whatever, right? Few faithful Moors. The reason Drew Ali, even that, Drew Ali said, few faithful Moors. If you're faithful, increase your faithfulness to me, the Prophet, and your movement, because, that's all that we have. And as soon as we see Moors starting to do good, you see influx of dirty Moors just coming out the woodwork. Just all of a sudden, these Moors just come from nowhere. Just like roaches. You move something and you just they're just running. It's like niggas are roaches, for real, right? So that's our flag. I don't care who has it. I don't care who claims that they have it. I don't care what they claim about it. That's our flag. Anybody who doesn't want it, hey, turn in your fez, turn in your card and your button, and go back to the state where the Prophet found you, which is the state of civil liter mortus, nigger, dead in the eyes of the law, non-descendable, whatever. Because it's a disservice. Not really a disservice, but when you have Moors who are talking about, they're Moors and they have fezzes and they have turbans and they're, for the Prophet or whatever like that, but then they're talking about that's not the flag. So they're going to go make up some flag and then tell you that, oh yeah, this is the new empire that's founded. And Noble Ali backs this because, you know, the Moroccan flag is the father flag, and then, you know, the Moroccans took it, so we can't use it anymore. So now we have to make up a new flag because, you know, that flag, they have it, so we have to do a new thing. And then when we do this new thing, now we're really going to be Moors. Those people are about to sell you out because they already sold out just by talking like that, just by making those kind of statements, right? So, you know, we can play games, you know what I mean? We can play games amongst ourselves, right? We can play games amongst ourselves. But when you go outside of your house or whatever like that, and you start talking about, you know, you're not recognizing Noble Ali and you're not recognizing what he brought, but you want them to recognize what you're doing, when what you're doing is probably more than likely, you know, like 80 years behind what Noble Ali did, they know clearly that you're a fraud. And again, when you look at a Mexa Moor empire, when you look at UCC Moors, when you look at Atsikata Nation, when you look at Temple Number 13, Baltimore, and all these Moors that are doing something contrary to what Noble Ali brought, and they're not getting arrested and stuff like that, obviously they work for the Europeans. Obviously the European is giving them a pass to do whatever it is that they do to keep Negro, black, colored people in a state of civil mortus, so they can have jurisdiction in their affairs. There's Moors who we know that got arrested, and, you know, they're talking from the perspective of, well, you know, we don't really want to go with what, you know, you guys are teaching or whatever like that. We're going to go deal with these Moors over here. And then we check their paperwork, all their stuff is in all caps. Their free national name, all that, in all caps. Why is that in all caps? Well, you know, and then, yeah, but that's not what, like, why would you have your stuff in all caps? And then submit it to them under, you know what I mean, the vibe that they're going to acknowledge you. Nonsense. And want to know why Moors get arrested. And then, you know, these fool Moors want to look at, you know, oh, well, you know, Moors got arrested, so, you know, since Moors got arrested, you know, you can't follow what they did. Yeah, half of the Moors, 3/4 of the Moors get arrested because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Half the Moors get arrested because they don't know what they're doing, right? They do not know what they're doing, right? We want to also put on the record, our good brothers at the Moorish Directory put up a new not new, but, you know, they put up something with regard to this racial dolezal, NAACP coming out with her, you know, she's not she's not a black lady or whatever, right? So we're just gonna read that article quick fast. Black is the absence of color. Black is a brand. Black is a brand. Let them have it back. Rachel Dolezal was in fact more correct in saying she was black than the mainstream media would have you know. If for one to have absolutely no problem whatsoever with any European calling themselves black, or even African American for that matter. As for the etymology of the word black and the origin of the word and the way in which its meaning has changed throughout history, Rachel Dolezal, president of the NAACP chapter in Spokane, Washington, who resigned Monday amid allegations of lying about her ethnicity, was actually more correct than not in that the term black actually, etymologically, means pale. As with all things, we should make use of this matter as a lesson. We never have been black, negro, colored, coons, or niggers, although some still do act like monkeys, nor the dual continent brand African American. We are Moorish American, Aboriginal, indigenous to this land. Moorish American, not Moorish hyphen, not more hyphen ish American, Moorish American. And we come in many shades, none of which is black. Our melanin ranges in shades from very light, as can be seen in the photograph of my mother above on the right, to the rich and lush darkest of ebony brown. In color tones, we Moors span the entire spectrum of browns from the brightest copper to the darkest burnt brass, but none has ever been born absent of color, or black, which is the actual modern scientific definition of black. The media would have us believe that Miss Dozal was being deceptive regarding her quote-unquote race, when in fact there is only one race, and it is called human. And among us humans are many tribes. What the popular press and media was actually expressing is that she was being deceptive regarding her class brand, because in actuality there is no such thing as a white race. The human race is the only race which exists among humans. The other term race is a totally fabricated European social construct designed to have us lose our minds, identity, culture, and knowledge of self by stripping us of our heritage and our nationality and understanding of who we really are, the Aboriginal Indigenous Americans, Moors. What the media, if more responsible, what the media, if more responsible or honest, should be bringing to light is the fact that the development of race and racism as a social engineering power construct phenomena is at its very base level psychological manipulation, an effective form of social influence designed to effect a change in the perception of behavior or others through, for the most part, deceptive and or abusive tactics. By advancing the interests of the manipulator, always at another's expense, such coercive methods are exploitative, abusive, and corrosive in nature, a form of deviant psychopathology. All things have a beginning. The transmutation of the word black from an adjective to a noun and then developed of operative classification is an attempt to scientifically identify a so-called race did not simply come into being on its own. The mechanism, like many isms, was specifically designed and developed as a vehicle to support the proliferation of very specific insidious agendas, tweaked and fine-tuned as to appear scientific in nature, then employed with the aim of being accepted, as it has been, as logical fact of reality, to be vigorously utilized as a key social engineering tool across the vast spectrum of our global social construct. The concept of a race, a competition between opponents having a singular goal, defeating the opponent, was initiated as a deceptive device invented and further enhanced and reinforced under the false color of science logic by the following three Europeans: Francois Bernier, Francois Bernier, Carl Linnaeus, Carl Linnaeus, and Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, Johannfried Blumenbach. Race paradigm. This contrived anomaly has a wide view underlying the theories and insidious methodology of the so-called scientific subject has defined within it four specific classification qualifiers. The competitors who were to be identified classified by the following four elements: skin tone, facial features, hair texture, cranial size. It is significantly important to grasp, understand, and begin to appreciate the significance of these ethnic characteristic classifiers having nothing to do with national origin or geographical ancestry. So we'll stop there. You can read the rest. That's on the Moorish Directory website under News, under the News tab. So let's go to the News tab and you'll get cleared up as to that. All right. Next question or comment. Let's see. You can do your research. Amor sent this out. This is how the Moors complete them. They should both be sent to the IRS and the U.S. Treasury. Now, you're doing this based on research, right? Because remember that if you're sending anything to the U.S. Treasury, what you're really doing is sending that to the IMF because there's no U.S. Treasury, and the treasurer of the U.S. Treasury or the Department of the Treasury has been transferred to the governor of the IMF. So instead of Moors sending out stuff talking about U.S. Treasury bonds and tying themselves to Treasury and all that stuff, first thing you have to do is go read James Traficant Jr.'s bankruptcy speech, where he lays all this out, that there's no such thing as Treasury. The Treasury is the IMF. The IRS, secondly, is not Congress. The IRS has nothing to do with the United States Corporation. It has nothing to do with the United States of America Republic. It has nothing to do with the jurisdiction, the geographical jurisdiction of the United States of America, which is from Alaska to Chile. The IRS is a sole private corporation that is run by the Inquisitionists in order to steal revenue, which to them is energy. You're also going to go to a King Alfred plan. We'll get the King Alfred plan, Rex 84, Executive Order 110940 or 11490, and read the chapter on energy so you can know what these people are doing when they start talking about stock markets and when they start talking about people and persons and they start talking about inmates and jail cells, right? And cells are in batteries, and all they're talking about is energy. All the time, every day, all they care about is getting energy. They don't care about the people. Just like they told you in Matrix, when Neo woke up in the thing and he looked up and he looked down and all these people in these things, stuff plugged into their brain, stuff plugged into their arms. Why? Because they're sucking their energy. Told you in Matrix. Fields of people or whatever. People are no longer born, they're made. Why? To turn them into this, right? A battery for this beast system to live off of. So if you want, you know what I mean? It's up to you. Just saying, as soon as more start talking about treasuries and IRS and putting them on notice of some form from their jurisdiction or whatever like that, you know what I mean? Under the guise of something, research it first before you do it, because not all those processes are for Moors to really get involved in. And Moors shouldn't be looking at these, sending forms in or whatever like that to get something in the mail from those people. Only reason you're doing it is to qualify your status with them. Alright, so there's a form called the SS5 form and a form called the SF181. So go research those forms if you want to, if it makes sense, then sure, submit whatever you got to submit. You know what I mean? So that you can get your stuff. Okay. What's next? Brother Hassan Ghazi El Bey has a literature package for Moors, if you want to get a hold of that. I am Hassan Ghazi El Bey, and I present to you Adept Invoking. This is prepared literature pursuant to the charge that our beloved Prophet Noble Jew Ali made us, saying, if you want to change the people, you must change their literature. This 4-page prepared literary meal is seasoned with basic necessities that guided and continues to guide my travels as a more American national, and it specifically references rvbaypublications.com as well for our people to draw from. Adept Invoking will be delivered to the people for zero cost with a suggested remunerative donation of any amount from 1 cent to $1 million. Lawful money to be received only from those who volunteer to donate. Page 1, Adept Invoking cover. Page 2, Matrix and Etemon. Page 3, Morgan Freeman as a Moor. Page 4, Proclamation. I'm looking forward to positively constructive feedback and support, energy, support. Thank you in advance for the time and consideration. Have a graceful, productive time at this point till eternity. Love you, Moabite family. Infinite love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice prevails. Islam, peace, and love. And then, Brother Hassan, if you want to get the little booklet, it's Hassan Ghazi, HASANGHAZI LBay@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with him about, taking a look at the booklet, maybe adding on to it, or whatever. But this is what Moors have to do. Get themselves among Moors who are doing stuff properly. Right? Brother Zephaniah Abraham sent an email. Islam Moore, thanks for taking the time to call me last Friday evening. I deeply appreciate the conversation, and it indeed helped me bridge the gap into steeping from that other temple into a more clear focus to what our illustrious prophet has left us as a nation. I am currently focused on acquiring some land to start our own agricultural center, growing organic, non-GMO foods. I know it's going to morph into having our own community as well. This has been a heart cry of a lot of Hebrew Israelite women that I've spoken with. They want to see us Moors step up and start claiming what's ours as Masons, and Mama will come running home. Their cry makes sense to me, seeing that on the cover of the 101s, the Prophet is rescuing our sister out of the waters, which are the cares of the world, and onto land, which is salvation. But I also tell them that nationality is the order of the day. They must declare, then proclaim who they are as Moors. Everyone has a part to play. Let us true and clean Moors come together to make this a reality for our women who are waiting for us to come to their aid. I know we can and will do it. Once again, for all you do to share the good news of what our Prophet has left us, I look forward to having you at our conference call the next 3 weeks or so. Peace. Brother Zephaniah Abraham L. So, again, just to put it on the record, right, we already told you about Nation of Gods and Earths, Brother Supreme Al, who's Nation of Gods and Earths, but he's a Moorish American and he has nationality as his birthright. And he's not playing games with people about he's Nation of Gods and Earth before he's a Moor. It doesn't work like that. He's a Moor first, and then anything that he does after, more power to him. Same thing with Brother Zephaniah Abraham L. Hebrew Israelite. For all the people out there who want to say Hebrews aren't Moors and whatever like that, here's a Moor that's a Hebrew Israelite. Not only is a Hebrew Israelite, but he has his fez on. He knows that El is the Canaanite god. He knows that the Hebrews come from the Canaanites because they used to worship Baal before they worship Yahweh or whatever, right? And Baal's Canaanite, and El is Canaanite, and he attached that to his Hebrew name because to him it makes sense because, today you talk to Hebrews, they know what El is. They know the name El as a Hebrew. They know what that is. But they don't want to tie it to the Canaanites. Even though there's a Canaanite god named El. And they're going to deny that fact. And the brother has contacts with other Hebrew Israelites. And his biggest problem with the Hebrew Israelites is what do the Moors have? When we see what the Moors have, then we'll be Moors. Hebrews are Moors. Take it from your brother, Abraham El, who's a Moor. That you see Hebrew Israelite, he has his fez on and all that stuff. He's a Moor. He knows that he's a Moor. There's no denying the fact that he's a Moor. But, he's a Hebrew Israelite. But he has a nationality of Moorish American and recognized Noble Jew Ali as the prophet. He also recognized Moses or whatever. You know what I mean, man? He knows Moses is top Moses, who's a pharaoh, and there was no such thing as somebody named Moses. We know that. And what did they say? If you're following Moses and Abraham and all these people, right? Abraham, right? That's Kemetic. Ra is Kemetic. Ab is Kemetic, right? What happened? What GM James tell people? That the Moors are the custodians of the ancient Egyptian culture. Ancient Egyptian means Kemet, which means Kemetic people. So if the Moors are the custodians of Kemet and Kemetic sciences, then obviously, all the sciences that the Moors have, that they adopted from Kemet, means that the Moors don't have a problem with Africa. We don't have a problem with Africa, but we know that term, we know that calling a landmass that name puts it under the jurisdiction of the colonizer because that's what the colonizer called it. So, Islam to brother Zephaniah Abraham El, Shalom. Thank you for stepping up as a Hebrew Israelite and not playing games with this birthright and trying to, do everything that you can do as a Hebrew Israelite without proclaiming their nationality. Thank you for knowing that nationality is the order of the day. And, tell the sisters and the family that are Hebrew Israelites that they need to come home. It's nothing, against, being more now you can't be Hebrew. That's not what this is about. This is about putting our stuff in order so we can exercise correctly. And if, we're saying that we're Hebrew Israelites, we should have a nationality. And your nationality can't be Hebrew Israelite, because if your nationality was Hebrew Israelite, you would have some Hebrew Israelite nationality card or something like that to prove that that's what your nationality is. And you don't. Right? Well, except, brother Abraham El. Right? And again, brothers talk about they got land that they're about to acquire as Hebrew Israelites. Don't do like the Nuwapians and go claim land with no L's and B's and stuff like that. Because you will get what the Nuwapians got after you build your stuff up. After 10, 15 years, you build up stuff, build all this stuff, and then they're going to come take all your stuff and destroy everything that you put your hard back pain and sweat and got your hands dirty building. They would destroy everything. Why? Just because you didn't have a nationality. And it's not racism. We just did the Moorish directory, show you that there's no such thing as a race. That's a European phenomenon. So, no race games. Right? No race games. Okay. Next question. Oh, so the video out there right now. The Moors are here. Where are you? On Sonetter TV, Black News 101, whatever, and they have these Moors. You know, the only Moors that they promote really on, you know, on the level of, you know, promoting like that. Temple 13, New York Moors. Historically, you got some info. Industrial perspective, they're doing things relative to, you know, introducing business to the Moors and things like that. Their lineage, though, where they say that they come from, not down with that, because they're down with the Kirkman Bay faction of Moors. And we already know Kirkman Bay was a Fez marker. I mean, Kirkman Bay was one of those Moors that came in to the movement under the guise of trying to, you know, undermine Noble Drew Ali to get him out of the way so he can have a power position in this divine and national movement. So we just want to put on the record again the letter from Mealy Ill to Kirkman Bay, letting, or actually from Emi Ill to Crombie Bay, letting him know about the position that Moors are taking. Islam, sis. How you doing? Come on in, have a seat. You could come close if you want to be near the fan. How's everything?
Everything's okay.
That's good. That's good. Good. Glad you made it. All right. If you want, you could just formulate some questions because it's freestyle day today. So it's question day. We answer whatever questions that you have. We're just going over a couple questions that people send on online. Okay, yeah, because we're streaming online right now to other people. So the letter from Mealy Ill to Crombie Bay from 6/17/1931. Islam, my dear brother, I am agreeably surprised as well as glad to hear from you at this time. I have often wondered what had happened to you. Now, speaking of Dov El, you didn't give much understanding as to what this party was doing or where he was operating or who gave him his authority. If he acts on the lines of Islam, so find out what this brother is teaching, his right to do so, and who did he receive it from. Now, the whole trouble is this. When I was on my way around to visit the Prophet's temples in August of 1929, Kirkman Bay was made Supreme Grand Advisor by a group of members secretly, and it was kept secret, unbeknown to me what was on till we were ready to transact our regular business in the convention. Then they sprang this trick of making Kirkman head of the organization, which is in direct violation of the Prophet's laws and the Holy Quran, according to chapter 10, verse 22. We as heads of the Prophet's temples, so there wasn't some one Prophet's temple, right? All the temples were the Prophet's temple. We, the heads of the Prophet's temples, fell asleep at this point by being confused over the passing of our Prophet, which they knew would not be expecting any surprise, and that so they thought was the time for them to put him over. But I had stated in the outset, in advance of my official work, that in view of the passing of the Prophet and the much confusion that was very rampant at the time, we wouldn't be able to do anything effective except choose a Grand Treasurer and a Board of Trustees, which the Prophet said himself we should have. Anything else I declared would be unofficial till the next regular meeting of the Supreme Grand Council. He, Kirkman Bay, was made advisor anyway, but I knew I had been given the power by the Prophet in the first article of the Constitution to change anything that went wrong by the Holy Quran Constitution, which we did in the last convention. But he doesn't think so and decided against him. Yet, he is still acting against the will of the Holy Prophet Drew Ali. But can you expect? He thinks he has perfect right to do what he is doing, because so many of the governors and grand sheiks fell after the passing of the Prophet, and most of them are with him now and against the Prophet. They are fighting me because I won't stand for Kirkman Bey to act as Supreme Grand Advisor of the organization. They are doing all that they can against me on his account, virtually destroying, if possible, the movement through willful, malicious disobedience. So that's from the successor of Noble Drew Ali, right? Speaking about Kirkman Bey, who these Moors, Temple 13 Moors in New York, uphold and, honor and say that, he's the, we need to get down with, whatever that. Those are also the Moors that are doing the naturalization. Those are also the Moors that are pushing Abraham Lincoln as, the prophet. Personally, how it looks to me, they're pushing Abraham Lincoln as the prophet because he has some oath of amnesty that, was supposed to free the slaves and all this type of stuff. And, they're talking all this stuff about, the European-made Moors slaves, which made them foreigners. So they have to naturalize, since they're a foreigner, in order to change or correct their status and proclaim their nationality. When Noble Drew Ali told these Moors that you are who your ancient foremothers and forefathers are without doubt or contradiction. So if we are who our foremothers and forefathers were without doubt or contradiction, then that means that nobody can make us a foreigner. That means our ancient foremothers and forefathers were not black, Negro colored, or African, or anything else. Because we know that our ancient foremothers and forefathers never identified themselves by, calling themselves these fiction labels. They identified themselves by their national origin. They identified themselves based on their status. Right? Right now, I just got word now that these same Moors, right, they're trying to go at Brother Alim, going at Brother Alim El Bey, right? These Amexa Moors and the the FBI booklet pushing Moors, right? The FBI booklet pushing Moors are gonna try to diss Alim because he goes from the perspective of UCC 1 and doing whatever with the UCCs. If you are competent in UCC protocol, paperwork, whatever, do your thing. If you're competent, Toriano Obashango L is competent, so he can do that. Don't come try talking about, we want a Moor to teach us how to do UCCs because we heard that it works and whatever like that. No. You go study UCCs, because remember, we talked about before, UCC has like 900 different whatever. So you have UCC 1-100, UCC 1-200, UCC 1-300 to 900, then UCC 2-300, UCC 2 down to 900, then UCC 3 whatever. So if you want to do UCCs, go study those stuff and then implement whatever. Don't be asking anybody questions what they did or whatever like that, because I guarantee you, Alim Bey didn't ask anybody any questions about how to do this UCC whatever stuff. He took his time, however long it was for him to study, figure it out, and he implemented it. And it works. Right? And it works. Nobody's not saying don't do the UCCs. We're saying if you're a fool and you're just coming into this, Don't be talking about you want somebody to show you how to file UCCs and all that stuff, because you are only injuring yourself. And us personally, we don't have any issue with Alim using UCCs. We don't have any issue with Toriano Obashango L using UCCs. We know them personally. And those are good brothers. And they're not selling no UCC packages and stuff like that. They have mastered a process. There's a process that exists. They mastered it, so they do it. If you're going to go to them and say, you know, well, how do I do this or whatever like that, and they hit you for 1,000, then you got to pay the 1,000. They mastered it. That's not birthrights or nothing. That's a process that has nothing to do with birthrights. That's commercial. And hey, it's commercial. They have a right to tell you 50,000. If you want to know about it, then you got to pay. If not, don't diss, don't hate. Recognize that, you know, they wanted to learn it. They did their due diligence and found out how to do it. So now they know. And because it's commercial, they can say 500, 5,000, 3,000, whatever. And you have to pay if you want to know. UCC is not birthrights. If you want to learn for free, then take some time, go study it. And, you know, once you know, then go and implement whatever. But as soon as we start getting into, you know, Moors going at Moors for being active, right, know that the activity that certain Moors are doing, the activity that certain Moors are putting in place is causing these people who claimed that they knew something, or who claimed that they had something locked down and they knew how to do whatever and they're for the profit or whatever, it really just exposes them as being imposters and that they're not needed anymore. And, you know, if these are individuals who are like the Moors with the right to travel that we've been dealing with, they do not want to be unimportant, because when they become unimportant, that means they're broke now. And once they're broke, they're done for, right? Because they have no intentions of going and getting a job or starting a business or whatever. They want to use the Moorish movement as their business. They want to use the Moorish movement as their way to get, you know, their pockets fat. When that's not what this is about. This is a Rotarian movement, right? This is Rotarian. This is humanitarian. You're not going to get paid off this. And if you do get paid off this, you better put the funds right back in. Because Jwali told you, Moors, that all that fiat that you claim that you got is definitely going to burn up in your pocket if he doesn't give it back to you. And when you see Moors coming to you with, you know, black pockets, smoke coming out their pockets or whatever, know that they're dirty. And there's nothing to go to them for, nothing to ask them for. Let them burn on their own. So these Moorish American National Republic, you know, Temple 13 Moors or whatever like that, don't even get played. If you want to go support them and use their toilet paper or whatever like that they created, go right ahead. Buy some bundles of whatever. But do not go to them and do any type of naturalization process in order to have your freedom. Yes, sis. Huh? Now the books are $5 right up there. The small books are $5. DVDs are 3 for $20. And what's free is Holy Quran is free. You get that free. 101 questionnaire, you get that free. And oral statements by the Prophet, you get that free. So all those ones are just in that first white rack up there. All right. All right, peace and blessings. I intend to send this to a bank. I currently conduct financial transactions. With your thoughts or input would greatly be appreciated. I visited the first on Thursday, June 11th, whatever. like that. I visited the First United Service Bank to conduct business, deciding to inquire, and I present my ID to correct my name on the spot. Staff never seen an ID like that and asked if they could check with corporate office. In the end, Chris Hand, the branch manager, stated he needs a US ID, any US ID. Now, tell Morris, Juali told Morris, do all new business in your free national name. All old business stays as it is. So as soon as you go into, I have a license and I want to go and change that to this new name, here's this ID, please change it or whatever like that, you just violated the prophet. That's why stuff didn't work. Because, you can't violate the prophet and expect to still get through with what you're trying to do. It doesn't go like that. As soon as you, and most of the time it goes like that because people don't study the prophet. They want to study all this other stuff and all these other things and figure that, this thing out here is going to work, that's going to work. When Drew Ali said that, he brought you everything it takes to save a nation. But, if you're not using that, how you expect to find this freedom, right? So again, you're going to this corporation, which is registered with the U.S. Corporation, and you're putting down your nationality card and telling them that they need to change something in their records when they're a private, foreigner, inquisition, mercenary corporation that have no respect or regard for rights whatsoever. They don't care about rights. They do not care about nationality. They do not care about ancestral estates or anything like that. All they care about is their energy, right? And since they have no energy of their own, all they care about is your energy. Do not go into these institutions expecting you put down your nationality card so they're going to honor something. These people are not honorable. They're criminals. They're not honorable. They kill trees and stuff like that to build stuff that they got around here. How honorable are they if they're killing what gives them, you know what I mean? Life. They're anti-life. Anti-life people do not respect life. And if you're in full life, why are you going to go to somebody similar to Mortus to respect your position? If you're in full life, right? How about take your nationality card, instead of going and try to open a bank account with some bank or whatever, how about take your nationality card, go buy a safe, no taxes off, and put your fiat in a safe. How about that? There's your bank. Now you have your own bank without the charge of $9.99 or whatever every month to keep stuff inside that account. Right? List of acceptable documents. Right? So this is apparently what the bank is. List of it. ID card issued by federal, state, or local government agencies or entities, provided it contains a photograph or information such as name, date of birth, gender, height, eye color, and address, of which my federal ID contains the above stated requirements. Note the first line indicates allodial American National Identification Card. Further note, this card indicates my nationality as a more American and Aboriginal Native American, of which arises in me that quality that arises in a person belonging to a nation. This puts your corporation in violation of U.S. Department of Homeland Security, in violation of the United States Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, signed by Barack Obama in 2011. Article 5, Indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, economic, and social cultural institutions while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. Article 6, every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. This must be corrected immediately as to cause no further harm to myself or other nationals that may visit in the future. Right now, once again, as soon as we start thinking that they have to acknowledge something, they're criminals, right? They're the bad guys, and we want the bad guys to acknowledge that the good guys are about to get rid of them. You know what I mean? We want, you know, we want Bane to say, give Batman the pass or whatever. You know what I mean? Because, you know, the good guy. So forget anything that I want. Forget my, you know, take over the world plans and all that stuff. Because, you know, Superman came out of the thing or whatever. Oh, you know what I mean? We don't want nothing to do with that. We're going back to wherever we came from. But that ain't going on. They're criminals. And once again, we have a obligation to do for self. We should be doing for self, right? Unfortunately, you know, we're compromised. So we tell people in our compromised occupational position, stop picking fights with these people. Reserve your rights on the contract. Learn to live within these contracts that you're signing with these people and continue on if you have to deal with them. Because, you know, I talked about this before. My position is that I'm not taking my free national name and mixing it up in some fraudulent stuff out there. Only way that I'm doing that is if they're coming at me and I need to put my position on the record so that they don't try to railroad me or whatever like that. Other than that, all rights reserved, UCC 1-103, UCC 1-207, 308, without prejudice, sign over that and get whatever it is that those individuals claim that, you know, they have and whatever like that, and, you know, or they don't want, you know, because, you know, remember, like, they say federal, so we can't say that we have federal ID. You know what I mean? They say federal. Their mentality of federal is U.S above, you know, executive, above, you know, municipal, whatever jurisdiction. Federal. That's their mentality, right? So we can't play the game with them of, you know, well, you want federal? Well, here, you know, we're nationals, which is federal technically. So here's our ID. No, but you're Aboriginal and Indigenous. They're a corporation. They don't have to recognize what it is. You know what I mean? Especially if for the past 10 years you've been had that account with no LB on it. All of a sudden you want to put LB on their account. All of a sudden, why would they even go with it? You know what I mean? You know. And I mean, you know, there are some instances where Moors have put their stuff and they got things. You know what I mean? They got them to switch stuff and all that. It's not like it can't be done, but, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to create these battles. You got the account sitting there. And then what's really killer, right? What's really, you know, what shows the supreme violation of these people is that this First United Credit Union, their street that their office is on is called Gibraltar. Right? And Gibraltar is Gibra al-Tariq, the Moor, who conquered Iberian Peninsula. So these guys have their main office or whatever on Gibraltar Drive. Right? And Gibraltar goes back to the Moors, So their bank could be on a street named after the Moors, but they're not gonna take Moors ID in the bank. Just shows you how criminal these people are. You know what I mean? And it's nothing personal, nothing to get from Moors to get mad about. Just remember that we called this on ourselves because we let dirty Moors come in here and they did whatever that they did and we never did anything about it. You know what I mean? We let them do what it is that they do. Same thing that we talk about with um, same thing we talk about with um, letting them get a pass out of some unity when they're dirty. I mean, they rob you 2,000 for some nationality, and you're not calling them out on that. You're just gonna, oh no, there's too much confusion amongst the Moors, so we have to, use that as a. They just got you for 2,000. Like you're not gonna. If European gets you for 2,000, you be talking about that every day, all day, right? Find me once again. We always put it on the record. Find me some nation out there that recognizes that there's traitors in their midst and they don't do anything about it. They recognize and realize that there's traitors around. There's people trying to take over the government. There's people trying to do whatever. And they're just going to sit back like, nah, out of unity, because they're Chinese, and I mean, we're not going to do nothing about it. We're going to let them just be traitors, and, you know what I mean? Hopefully they'll come around. Coming around. You oust those people. Have to do that. We have an obligation to get rid of the people who've done nothing with this, people who sold this out. An obligation to. You don't have an option in the matter. So, with regard to going to banks and all this type of stuff, yeah, you could write writs to them and you can want them to, recognize whatever it is that they recognize. You know what I'm saying? Cool. I mean, you can put them on notice. You can do certain things. You can write them writs. You can whatever. But don't get caught up in, battling with them because they didn't acknowledge. They're de facto. They've been de facto since 1933. Go read Louis McFadden's speech. Even if people are going to talk about, James Traficant is a fraud and that's not a real speech. All right, fine. Go read Louis McFadden's speech. Tell me if that's fake. 1933 bankruptcy speech by Louis McFadden. And if he's echoing the same thing that the fake speech of James Traficant Jr., then, you got to put one and one together and call it what it is. These people are bankrupt, dissolved and insolvent. There's no need for us to go to them. And if we are going to them, use the bankrupt and insolvent birth certificate name, reserve your rights, and get whatever it is that you have to get from these people. You want to get welfare checks? Go right ahead. Proclaim your nationality, reserve your rights on the welfare check, and then go get the welfare check. And make sure that when you get your $5,000 a month or whatever like that welfare check, that you donate something to the temple. You know what I mean? So that you don't have IRS coming down on you, because you violated the prophet. And they see this 5,000 just going into your account, out your account, and they're seeing all these transactions and sneakers and whatever like that, and the temple's not getting nothing. And you think that you're not gonna get some karma for that. You're gonna get yours. Keep playing around. Right? These people aren't playing, even though they're playing, because they're on Gibraltar Street and shit like that. Right? This is Brother Zenieza. I trust and hope that all is well in Canaanland, and if not, definitely move in that direction. I have an inquiry as it pertains to claiming abandoned property. This seems to me a different process and procedure than that of claiming a house with a debt pledge already instated. Thus, I am unsure as to whether the mortgage myth page has the information I need to go forth with my plans and actions. Please, if you have any information or direction that may assist me in succeeding in any economic endeavor, it would be most honorably appreciated. In any event, I thank you for all the works that you all do in Canaanland for uplifting fallen humanity. As Allah knows, it has helped me and countless Sincerely, Zeniza Ananta Bey. So with regard to claiming abandoned properties, you want to go to the city jurisdiction that has the list of all the abandoned properties. You find out where that abandoned property is. Once you find out where the abandoned property is, you go to the abandoned property, you put a notice on the door or whatever like that, that you're making a claim on it for whatever. Another thing you could do is when you go to the place with the abandoned property and you find the one that you want, find out from the clerk of that office if those abandoned properties are able to be bought on the spot. Because half of those abandoned properties, you get $1, they'll give it to you. And don't get caught up in, don't get caught up in Moors claiming abandoned properties that there's a real estate sign on the front lawn. That's not an abandoned property. That's claimed by somebody already. So slow your roll. Go find the abandoned property with the grass growing out the window and stuff like that. The abandoned property with the boarded up stuff. The abandoned property that you have to work on. Go claim those ones if you want to claim abandoned property. If you want to claim abandoned property, go claim the abandoned property that they're using as crack houses. Kick out all those people, let them know that that's your property now, and build it up. Because like we've realized with Moors who came into this information from the Google era, Moors of the Google era are lazy. They don't go to the library and study and stuff like we used to have to do. You know what I mean? They want to just push the whatever and then there's the stuff in front of their face. Yeah, you get information fast or whatever, but the key of this is going to get the information and putting some time in doing research, becoming a researcher, not just becoming a look for it online. And because you don't have to search online, like Google's searching for you. You just put in what you want and they'll give you anything that you want. You don't even have to research. Whereas if you go to the library, you have to at least go to the section. When you go to the section, you have to find the book. And then when you find the book, you have to find the page with what information that you want. I mean, and like we said, we used to go to the library and we'll have, books stacked around us like fortress. And people be coming in like, who are these guys? What are you guys studying? Oh, we're just studying about history, law, whatever like that, you know what I mean? But you got like 20 books on the table, like you really gonna read all those or whatever? Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to get this information. You know what I mean? Right? Commendable when you study. People look at you different. You know what I mean? And again, we're not saying don't use YouTube, don't use Google, don't use the internet. You know what I mean? But if Moors are in tune, the way that they're in tune, there might be situations where you don't have to use Google and etc. You might find a Moor who has the jump drive or whatever with every single book that you would want to have without you having to go search for those books. All the books are already on the drive, just sitting there waiting for you to go read them. You know what I mean? Because, some Moors took the position of, make studying easy for Moors. Because it's hard to find this information. You know what I mean? It's hard to really pick out what you should be picking out to study. And keep in mind that the vortex is always open. Just want to say Islam to the 11 Moors online. You know what I mean? We have that 11 theme going on where, when we see it, we recognize that it's vortex time. So Islam to all the active Moors, peace, love, and hotel. Right? And then also too, with regard to the mortgage myth page, don't disqualify the mortgage myth page as only applying to the dead pledge claims, or trying to default the dead pledge claim that people are making. Also, look at the information on the mortgage page as part of your claiming abandoned property demonstration, because there's things in there that are still relative. You know what I mean? Deed of trust and things of that nature that you should want to consider in going and making these claims. And again, we use again Umar Johnson as an example, right? He had 250,000. He had that already. You know how much abandoned properties he could have claimed for 250,000, and how much schools he could have put up just with that money alone? But they don't want to do that. They want the high, prestigious, whatever like that. And he could have took that 250,000, bought a place for 50,000, and had $200,000 to renovate the spot and build a school. Tear it down and build something from scratch. Right? But, when you get greedy, when you start getting into the 7 deadly sins and all that type of stuff, Allah's going to chop you down quick fast. Quick fast, you're going to get chopped down. Because, you can't be talking about, yeah, we're doing this for the people and we're doing this for the black boys or whatever like that, but then you're calling it yours. My stuff, my school. Yeah, this is my school. This is my school. This is my thing. Intentions in the language. And people's language, once they have warped language, just like we told you about these Moors, they're talking about birthrights, but they're talking about franchise, they're talking about business, they're talking about all these things that are dealing with commerce, but, the right to travel is a right that you have. That's not something that somebody could buy, sell to you or whatever like that. That's a right. You know what I mean? It's a right that you have to do that. And we have to recognize the right. The idea is that we have these rights, and we've been denied these rights because we never had knowledge of what these rights were. Now that we have knowledge what these rights are, now we want to, just go out there and just take the plates off and just go to whatever. Of course you're gonna get hemmed up. Like it's not even the Europeans' fault. You know what I mean? If you don't know what you're talking about, you're gonna have problems. That's just what it is. Nothing personal. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. All right? This is the testimonial from Brother Rashad Kari L. Islam Kujo L. This is Rashad Kari L from Toledo, Ohio Republic Territory. I'm sending you photos of some of the property that is now defunct Moorish Science temples in my city that they used to own. Also a photo of a small park right down the street from the property called Toledo, Spain Park. Toledo, Ohio and Toledo, Spain are sister cities. There is a lot of Moorish history that is being covered up here in Toledo. I also want to start doing more research on the subject and publish a small pamphlet on the 2 sister cities. That's all for now. I will keep in touch. And for Tuesday's class, we'll try to print out some of these properties so that you can see what the Moors had during the time of the Prophet and what we don't have anymore, because people let dirty Moors come around, run amok with their stuff, and then not do nothing about it. Because there's clearly been violations. Right? There's clearly been people doing what they're not supposed to do. Right? So we got about 35 minutes, and we're just gonna touch on some of the readings of the prophet. Actually, we're gonna read two before we go there. This little booklet right here, 5 Negro Presidents by J.A. Rogers. So I take some excerpts out of this just to prove to the people that, you know, these people know that the pyramid side of the great United States of America Republic is what the Moors are parcel to. Right? This government that people have infiltrated and are using to go around the world and do all types of madness under the fraud of U.S. is really our stuff that they're using. And the only reason they're doing what they got to do with it is because we haven't done what we're supposed to do with what we have and what the prophet left us. Right? In 1963, when Attorney General Kennedy and Senator Javits said there might be a Negro president in the next 30 or 40 years, fact, most outspoken of the big magazines replied there was already one, and in its January-February 1964 issue had an article, America's First Negro President. It named Warren G. Harding as one and had affidavits from elderly whites who knew the Harding family. But before Harding, 3 other presidents had been loudly proclaimed by quote-unquote white people as being of quote-unquote Negro ancestry: Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, and Abraham Lincoln. The portraits of none of the above mentioned show the slightest degree of quote-unquote Negro strain, but that is certainly not proof. Even before the Revolution, many of the Negro ancestry had become so white that whites who had been kidnapped and sold as Negroes could not prove that they were really white, and more so that some of them were darker than the bleached Negroes. Children were especial victims. As late as 1858, white orphan asylums sold their children at public auctions, and a picture of the Times shows a white child being tanned to sell him into slavery in the South. Harper's Weekly, January 30th, 1864, has pictures of emancipated white slaves. The most famous case of the Times was that of Salome Mueller, a white German girl who was sold as a Negro slave. Her relatives brought suit to the Supreme Court of Louisiana, held she was a Negro. It wasn't until her birth certificate was dug up in Germany that her real race was discovered. In fact, Salome, who had been married to a Negro, believed herself to be one also. What writers of the time said of this is given in my Sex and Race Volume 2, in the chapter, White People Sold as Negro Slaves. Even some aristocrats were of Negro ancestry. George Washington tells of Colonel Catesby Cock, Katsbycocké, Virginia senator, whose Negroid features made him hurry away nervously from Washington's home when he was there, an old Negro to whom he bore a striking resemblance. Therefore, when the political opponents of a presidential candidate said he was a Negro, many accepted it without question. It is usual for white writers to condemn offhand the statement that any president could possibly have any degree of Negro strain whatsoever, but it is not possible, without minute tracing of ancestry, to find whether one is pure white. Here's the case of one who started as a Negro, became white, and then voluntarily became a Negro again. He is T. John McKee. Those whose case attracted national attention and whose picture appeared on the front page of the New York Daily News, February 20th, 1948. McKee, grandson of a Negro millionaire of that time. Right, so 1948. The Negro millionaire, 1948. Right? Had crossed the color line, gone to Yale and studied law. He lived for 45 years as a white man and has been a successful Wall Street lawyer, said the news. He had also married a white woman and had children by her. Then, in 1948, he saw an ad issued by an orphan society of Philadelphia for any living grandsons of McKee. The latter, in his will, had left $800,000 to found a military school for white and Negro orphans, with the provision that if this was not done, the money with interest should go to his last living grandson. This attorney, McKee discovered, was no other than himself, and he promptly became a Negro again to the tune of $1,240,000 with interest on the original sum. Right? This man said, I'll be a Negro and go get my check. Here's another case, this time from English royalty. David Michael, Marquis of Milford Haven, cousin of the Queen of England, has some Negro strain, but positively does not show it. On the paternal side, he is descended from Queen Victoria. On the maternal side, from Pushkin, Russia's greatest poet. Pushkin, in turn, had descended from Abraham Petrovich Hannibal, an unmixed Sudanese Negro who had been adopted by Peter the Great of Russia, and of whom Pushkin wrote in his Negro Peter the Great. Hannibal's descendants married also into German, Russian, Dutch, and other royal families. David Michael's mother was Najida, daughter of Grand Duke Michael of Russia. In some, and then, Najida, N-A-D-J-E-D-A. The Grand Duke of Russia's mother name was Najida. That's not no European name or whatever. That's definitely not European. In some southern states, this member of English royalty would be a Negro. Virginia law provides that if any Negro ancestry is ascertainable, one is a Negro. If this had been proved of Thomas Jefferson also, he would be one. When this descendant of Victoria and of Pushkin married, the Hearst newspapers had a feature on it saying that the coal-black baby might yet be born in the English royal family. This was based on the belief that if either couple had the slightest degree of Negro strain, a coal-black child might be born. Debrett's Peerage, page 53, Burke's Peerage, page 1668. Debrett's Peerage, D-E-B-R-E-T-T-S P-E-E-R-A-G-E, page 53, and Burke's Peerage. Therefore, if Negro strain can be found in European royalty, which is so exclusive, why not in the American colonies where there was so much intermixing? Winston Churchill's grandmother was 1/4 American Indian, which William Joyce, rightly or wrongly, claims wasn't Indian but Negro. Right, so the Indians are Negro, right? Not Indians. They slipped. That therefore these American presidents might have had some Negro strain as possible. Did some persons who knew the intimate details of their ancestry tell of them? There are very many instances of whites being exposed as Negroes. Interracial intercourse was very common then. George Washington had a Negro son and Jefferson mulatto daughters. Negro males were also named as co-respondents in white divorce cases, as Helen Catterall tells in her judicial cases concerning American slavery and the Negro. Judicial cases concerning American slavery and the Negro. Mixed marriages were also legal in several southern states, including Virginia and Mississippi. In Tennessee, mixed couples had to pay a tax. Thomas Jefferson, the chief attack on Jefferson was the Johnny Cake Papers. The Johnny Cake Papers. In a general denunciation of him, it said, Thomas Jefferson, son of a half-breed Indian squaw, sired by a Virginia mulatto father. It also called him a half-nigger. Thomas Jefferson. Opposition papers took it up. It is difficult to find matter with specific details of the assertion now. Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson's father and mother came from Ireland and were wretchedly poor. The Virginia Magazine of History, volume 29, page 191, says that Jackson was the son of a white woman who had intermarried with a Negro, and that his eldest brother had been sold as a slave in Carolina. What gave an air of truth to this was that the elder Jackson died before Andrew was born. His widow went to live on the Crawford farm where there were Negro slaves, and that one of these was Andrew's father. It was stressed that Andrew was conceived after the death of his supposed mother, whose name he bore. Another mention can be found in David C. Boyle's Ordeal of the Presidency and Jacob D.'s Affairs of Dame Rumor. Abraham Lincoln, cartoon of 1860, original source not known now, appears in David Browder's Ordeal of the Presidency. Note his woolly hair. And then there's the infamous picture, right, of Abe with his scimitar, pantaloons, the Morris shoes, the curl toe shoes, right? Looking like a Moor. Vice President Hamlin. Even more than Lincoln was his Vice President Hannibal Hamlin, said to be a Negro. While United States Senator from Maine, he was often attacked from the floor because of his dark skin. To one opponent he replied, I take my color from nature. You get yours from the brandy bottle. Which is more honorable? He was a special target for the South during the 1860 campaign, the more so as he was more outspoken against slavery than Lincoln. Editorials thundered against him and the dire effects of electing a free Negro to the vice presidency. Mercury, June 9, 1860, said Hamlin is what we call a mulatto. He has black blood in him. The northern people elected that man in consequence of his peculiarity. They designed to place over the South a man who has Negro blood. He wrote Lincoln that he understood that Lincoln had a mulatto boy, and if you will not let us know that you'll take for the boy, Hannibal and your price is reasonable, we'll purchase him. The Chicago Democrat, June 4, 1861, said, the constant theme in the South for the last 2 months has been the election of the abolitionist Lincoln and the free Negro Hamlin, the free Negro. As regards Hamlin's color, General Butler wrote the Secretary of War Stanton, when he was gathering Negro troops for the Union Army, that he would have a regiment of mulattoes about the complexion of Vice President Hamlin. While the South was making much against Lincoln and Hamlin, one of the South generals, James B. Floyd, was being called a Negro in the North. Floyd had been governor of Virginia, a candidate for the presidency of the United States and former Secretary of War. A United States publication, Rebellion Record, Volume 3, page 47, 1862, has the following story about Floyd from the Springfield, Illinois Republican. A few years ago, a gentleman residing in Richmond, Virginia, gave a large dinner to some distinguished men, among whom was Floyd, then a rising man, but whose personal appearance indicated neither mental or physical superiority, he being a pursy, dark-complexioned man with crispy hair. Along the guests were two Indian chiefs, magnificent specimens of their race. Floyd, thinking to compliment them and make them at their ease, told them in a condescending manner that he could boast of Indian blood being descended from Pocahontas. One of the chiefs, drawing himself up majestically and disdainfully, and with a look of contempt on his noble countenance, said in broken English, no, no, nigger, nigger. The confusion and dismay of Floyd was complete, and it required all the boasting politeness of Richmond to keep the other guests from laughing aloud. So that's Five Negro Presidents by J.A. Rogers. Pick that up. Good little booklet. Good little read. And we'll just close out with some words of the prophet. Savior of humanity. In this electrifying age, men are racing into this life without complete knowledge of where they are going or what the end will be. When riches seem to be their only pursuit, to be obtained anyway at any cost. When selfishness, avarice, greed, and lust dominate their very being. When humanity in general is left at the mercy of those who have no mercy in them. It is truly wonderful and astounding to see one come into this mad human drama for the sole purpose of saving humanity, losing all sight on all things worldly and yielding absolutely to a cause higher than has ever been attained. This picture is the likeness of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is serving humanity, coming as he does with a message for the nations in somewhat the same manner did Yahushua, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and other prophets of their day. Only the things of this prophet's day differ from the ills of the days of the past, and yet the remedy for the ills of today is about the same as the remedies for the days of the past, all turning about the pivot love for humanity. Humanity must be lifted from the unwholesome depths of poverty, misery, and suffering, and placed on the solid rock of salvation. There are some who claim to do this, but upon investigation, one finds that they have slouched under the wings of their cross to extract from those who come to them by which they can have the pleasures of this life, while they point their followers to the joy after death. While they feed their sheep, they also shear them while eating. At the close of the third day, the master will be heard to tell them, "You have your reward, get thee hence." Rare is it that you find a real prophet whose mission is the salvation of the nation. The land is full of false prophets whose mission is to fleece the people. The time was and now is that there should come into the land a prophet in the likeness of his brothers, to redeem them from the sin of slavery. Truly, this prophet, Noble Drew Ali, is the man, bringing with him the message of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which alone can save the nation. Like the coming of Yahushua, he does not come from the elect, nor the rich, nor the mighty in worldly power, but all power is given unto him to do good. This power is from Allah. It will be his works that will make men of every nation accept the truth that he brings. It will be through his teachings that the nations of the earth will understand the will of the Master. It will be through him that peace on earth and goodwill to all men shall come. It will be through his work and that humanity will be brought from the slime of life and placed on the solid rock of salvation. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. These are the instructions from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near. So says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that is why many hearts have turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not. For what you hear or see, you will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. So we want to say Islam to all the Moors out there. Peace, love, and hotep. Thank you for joining us today. We want to acknowledge Allah, acknowledge Marcus Garvey, the forerunner of the Moorish movement, and of course, supreme honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for all the great work that he did to make sure that we get ourselves out of civil liter mortu status and into our status of being in full life. Also remember, Tuesday, 7 p.m., same Ustream channel, we have Canaanland Moors Tuesday class, and at 9:30 p.m. on blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-Eyes Wide Open, we have the Moorish Heritage and History School show, class, etc. Don't forget to visit the online Moorish University, rvbaypublications.com, where you can go get your master's adept degree for free. Learn everything that you need to learn about your nationality and birthrights. The MoorishDirectory.com. Any Iron Sheik music, willofallah.com. We want to give honors to the Moors in Washington area that just got their temple started back up again. The Holy Temple of Science, chartered and headed by Sheikess Selah Lee Bey, and I believe the Mufti over there is Brother Supreme L. They're going to be doing their classes in Washington, so if you are in that area and you're looking for some Moors, just go on Facebook, Selah Lee Bey, SELAHLIBEY, okay? And what else was there? Oh yeah, and Brother Supreme L has a show on YouTube called Pardon the Interjection. So make sure you go check out his archives. You have myself on there. Got Selah Bey, he's interviewed. I believe he's working on Brother Seton Rabe. He's working on Denim L. So there's going to be some heavy classes coming up on the Pardon the Interjection show. So once again, we want to say Islam to all the Moors. Peace, love, and hotep. Stay active. We'll just close out with our Moorish American prayer. Or Moorish hyphen-ish or none of that crap. Moorish is not an adjective, you know what I mean? Moorish is the name of the Moroccans who are now in America, which is us. Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. by night and by day, to his holy prophet, Noble Ali, Islam. Peace and Otep. Islam, Moors, peace.